My point is, well, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying now.
Your point is, even though you weren't, quote, fired, it felt the same.
It felt the same.
It was a rejection.
The reason the anxiety kicked in, the reason I'm so grateful that I don't have that job anymore. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for the time I had at Travel Channel, but like, I remember one time in New Zealand, I had to do a 595-foot free fall and into a cavern, into a canyon. And
it was a bungee jump?
It was a rope swing.
Oh, okay.
It was intense.
I bet. Sounds scary.
And it's just the idea that it happens at 10 a.m. and you've got to sit and you wake up at 5 and now you have 5 hours of waiting.
Well, I would imagine at some point your brain starts going, the odds are starting to stack against me. I can't do all these death-defying things and not get hurt at some point. Yeah. So when is the day that I get hurt and how badly am I hurt and what happens to me? And it did happen. You fell off a 15-foot waterfall in the middle of nowhere and had to crawl out of a ravine so that they could take you on a board down the mountain. We had to come get you. So, and thank God.
I just told that on Two Bears, One Cave.
You only had tissue trauma. Thank God you didn't have any real injuries. It is a miracle that you didn't.
It is a miracle.
So it is a miracle that you didn't get really hurt in that one accident. So I can't imagine going to work every day going, is today the day? Like, I think your PTSD was fully justified. Yeah. Not to take away from military or anybody like that. But PTSD is PTSD no matter how you get it, right? Women from people who suffer from domestic violence often have PTSD. Children of those people children who are victims of domestic violence have PTSD. It comes from all different places. It comes from believing, or it comes from experiencing intensity over and over again without any recovery. And that intensity is usually...
Is that where it comes from? Because I definitely...
Yes,
I was experiencing intensity. I remember trying to explain it to someone and they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I had a day in Africa where I jumped off a stadium, swam with great white sharks, and then rappelled off Table Mountain within 24 hours.
Right, it's insane.
And I was like, and they were like, I remember at the end of that day, sitting on the edge of my bed, vibrating, going, should I jerk off or something? Like, how do I fucking get this to stop?
Right. It's because you were just so heightened. All your survival, probably your sense of survival was very heightened. It was insane. It was a lot to ask of any human being.
My point is, and it was just to get to the therapy and why I believe therapy is good, is then all that ends. I remember getting let go from Travel Channel, so now I have all this like backed up PTSD. I have rejection by my peers. Getting fired fucking sucks, especially getting fired from a network you've been at.
Well, you didn't get fired. You just didn't get renewed. Getting fired is go fuck yourself. Now, getting renewed is I think we're going to do something different.
I'll tell you, it
feels the same way, but when you say you got
McDonald's
fired, you're misrepresenting it.
A McDonald's apple pie isn't technically an apple pie, right? Like an apple pie is circular, but the one that you sell at McDonald's, why do you have a hard time understanding my analogy sometimes? McDonald's apple pie comes in a box, right?
Yeah.
You don't really call that apple pie.
I call it a turnover.
I'm gonna fucking lose my shit.
Because it's not round. It's not round.
You're in a brand new little space. Have you been doing this a lot? You've been doing your podcast too long. You've gotten too good at it.
Shut
that
up.
You're fucking slamming me.
You're just super easy.
My point is, I feel like I'm doing morning radio. My point is, well, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying now.
Your point is, even though you weren't, quote, fired, it felt the same.
It felt the same.
It was a rejection.
It felt the same.
Yes.
And then I was supposed to do the Funny or Die tour, the Oddball tour, and all those dates got pulled.
Yep.
And all of that. And I remember being in therapy, just being like, I remember like sharing the most intimate things about failure and what that felt like. And I mean, just all of it was like, what if this is now my new normal?
Mm-hmm.
And then to go from that and to try to, and I think the thing about therapy is because you're working on yourself, you feel like you're picking yourself up by the bootstraps.
Right.
You feel like you're doing the work to get yourself out of this.
If you actually do the work.
If you do the work.
There's a difference between going to therapy and complaining and going to therapy and learning.